Why did his career, tank so much? That night in 2006, it looked like he was the next guy.
And it's weird. It's like as soon as he got into that huge management lawsuit, it's like it was very weird how that whole thing went down.
Big ego,
when he finally came back, he wasn't the same.
He had a big ego though too, right?
Oh yeah,
overconfident hockey kid.
Yeah, I don't think he was overconfident. He was talented. Listen, this is a sport that you better be fucking confident. You better be, call it cocky if you want to, but I don't know how good I am. I think I'm okay. We'll see how I do on Saturday. I mean, if you were hearing that kind of shit, you might want to go out and get another job. You might not want to be fighting here. Well, I think that's the same stuff they said about Chael Sonnen too. You know what I mean? They weren't going to do that fight either. This is what they do every time a fight's over. They start talking about who they won't fight and who they might fight. Nick Diaz makes no sense, okay? I know that sounds fun. Yeah, throw Nick Diaz in there. If you really look at the thing, Nick Diaz just lost to Condit, you know what I mean, at 170. So that gives him the opportunity to move up to 85 and fight the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. In what fucking universe does that make sense?
But you said fans do get excited about it, and you want to put the fights that fans want to see. So I guess there's a limit on that.
George St. Pierre and Anderson Silva are both considered, and most people argue. I think that I think finally, especially with the inactivity from GSP, that people now consider Anderson Silva the pound for pound. But there was an argument there for a long time, and if GSP hadn't been this inactive, maybe the debate would still be there. But he's definitely 2 or 3 in the world, depending on who you ask. And if you were really going to make a fight like that, it would make more sense with George St. Pierre than it would with Diaz.
So if he gets by Condit, is that something? I mean, how serious are we? Is this just theoretical talking, or are we serious?
It's always theoretical. You don't know what's going to happen. We'll see what happens in the future here, and maybe that is the fight we're going to make. I can tell you this, not theoretically, Diaz Anderson is not going to happen. Dude, how many times have I been sitting here in front of you guys with a bunch of guys that said they won't fight each other? You're in the fucking fight business. You're going to fight.
You think you'll stop, you will not make a fight for Anderson until GSP's fight is done, just so you can have the opportunity to have those two guys get together?
Maybe.
That's what you're tempted to do?
Maybe. That is. No, that's what we're thinking. Yeah.
Dana, Cesar Gracie said he's meeting with you next week.
True.
Okay. About what?
About Nate Diaz.
Nate Diaz?
Yes. Caesar and I are meeting about Nate Diaz.
What about Nate Diaz?
We're re-signing him.
Okay. He also mentioned that he's going to try to convince you to let Nick fight overseas. Are you open to that?
He would have a better chance of convincing me, I don't know, to get hair plugs.
Is Nate Diaz still, I guess part of this negotiation or discussion next week will be that he'll fight the winner of next week's title fight? Is that still the plan?
What's that?
Next week, Frankie Edgar, Ben Henderson. Is Nate Diaz still the guy who's going to fight? Is that part of the...
Yep.
Okay.
We'd have to get it moving again. It's the unfortunate position that Ben is in, you know what I mean? Ben stepped up and takes the rematch with Frankie, which, I didn't want it to happen, but Frankie came to me a million times. This guy's always stepped up and always been there for us, and I felt obligated to return the favor. So Ben accepted, and of course now, if Ben loses in that fight, he gets back in line, you know what I mean? So definitely some pressure on Henderson for that fight. So I love Mike Swick. He's one of the originals from season 1 of The Ultimate Fighter. He's one of the greatest guys you can meet. He's a hard worker, and he battled this. I don't know if it's a disease or whatever it is that he had. I've never even heard of the thing before, but he battled it. He overcame it, and it's not Saturday yet, but hopefully he doesn't get hurt between now and Saturday, but it's good to have him back. I'm excited to have him back, and I'm excited for that fight too. I love that you guys didn't see this yet, but in the vignette for these two on Fox, DeMarcus says, he goes, there's a 50% chance I'm going to win this fight. There's a 100% chance somebody's getting knocked out. I love that. I love that line. It's just stupid. You got guys like BJ and Big Country and guys like that are always out there talking all this smack. The Nevada State Athletic Commission does the drug testing. They do the drug testing. Vada, wada, bada, nada, whatever. The Nevada does it, or California, or wherever we are.
these guys are saying that they're signed up for a deal and they're going to do it. It's going to be done.
Yeah, BJ wants to go drug test every friggin' 2 days or whatever he wants. Good for him. Knock yourself out.
So you won't stand in the way of those 2 guys participating? And
Yeah, I don't think both guys are going to participate.
Roy says he is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Whatever. That's their business.
I think the fans brought up weight classes today. A couple weeks back, you dropped the bomb that 115 would be something you look at. Now, were you just talking theoretical, or do you see that happening?
It'll happen. Yeah.
How soon do you think we can see an introduction like that?
I don't know, man. We're going into Asia, Mexico, going to South America, and traditionally they're all smaller guys. So
Near future?
it's going to make, I mean, our first event in China is going to be in November, and you know how it happens, man. After we put on an event, you know, it explodes and people start training. India too. I mean, you're going to see talent in those lighter weight divisions. It makes all the sense in the world when you really think about it. Mir just lost, right? He has, I mean, who's had more title shots for the heavyweight division in the UFC than Frank Mir, right? This guy's been with the company for 11 years. He's been fighting in the UFC for 11 years. It's as long as we've existed, you know what I mean? And for him to get the opportunity to go fight Cormier, and Cormier to have the opportunity to fight Mir, it really does make sense. Cormier smokes Mir, or the other way around. Good stuff.
Obviously, Strikeforce isn't your baby, but is that a title fight? You know, is there any kind of title on the line, or
Yeah.
is it a heavyweight title fight for Strikeforce?
Yeah.
Dissolved it, I thought I heard.
Huh?
I thought I heard they just dissolved the belts.
There you go. I don't know, but it should be a title fight. As far as I know, it's a title fight.
5-rounder.
And it should be.
Or will it be? It won't be a
should
5-rounder, actually.
He won the tournament. He's their heavyweight champion. Whether he's there for 1 fight or 10 fights, he's their guy.
Right.
This should be a title fight for the Strikeforce.
Fight, because
Yes, yes.
main event, maybe.
No, it's going to be a main event.
Yeah, hell yeah, it's the main event. It's that's not my world, but as far as I know, it's for the title. And if it's not, that's ridiculous. It should be. The only way that if Tim Silva went out and beat somebody, that it would make sense for him to come back to the UFC, then yeah. You know, I keep hearing stuff. He's won 5 in a row. He's won however many in a row. Whoever knows, I don't know. But who has he beat? You know, if he beat somebody that was worthy of him coming back, then yeah.
So you don't have anything personal against Tim,
no.
or
listen, are me and Tim Silva best friends? Do we hang out on weekends? And you know, no. But I, you know, I have that relationship with other guys too that fight in the company. You know, Hughes is one of these guys that I absolutely positively want Matt Hughes to retire. I mean, what else is there to accomplish? The guy's done everything. He's been a staple in this, you know, organization for a long time. He's been fucking awesome. There's nothing left to prove, you know, but it's so hard for these guys to say, I'm retired. So hard. The same thing with Chuck. Going through it with Matt. I would like Forrest to retire.
really?
Yeah, I would like Forrest to retire. Nothing left for Forrest to prove either. He won the Ultimate Fighter. He's had an amazing career. He won the title when people thought he couldn't. He became a huge star. He made shitloads of money. He's got a beautiful wife. He's got a baby. You know, he's just. If you don't want to be a world champion and you're still not in the mix, like I call it, why? What's the point? I get it. I get it. It's hard to walk away from walking into the arena with the big crowds and all the shit, but it just there's a point in time when it's just like you've done your thing, man. You've had an amazing career. You've done great things. There's nothing left to prove.
Have you conveyed that to Forrest, or?
Yeah, he don't like hearing it. He don't want to hear me. Yeah, no, it is what it is. You know what I mean? The Olympics. You know, it's funny. When we were talking about the Olympics going, I'm like, so do people really watch the Olympics? I mean, come on. Oops. People watch the Olympics.
And could you have pushed it back though, or do you then come up against preseason football?
Yeah. Listen, that's what a lot of people don't realize. Not only pay-per-view dates, but television dates. You're always going up against something, you know? And if it's not on television, it's a movie, or it's this, or it's that. Anything that grabs the attention of 18 to 34-year-old males is our competition. Well, if you look at BJ Penn's career, right? Count how many times he was in phenomenal shape, you know? I love BJ. BJ's been a huge star for us for a long time, but, you know, I think BJ could have been, you know, he could be up there in the talks with who's the greatest of all time. You know what I mean? I've said it for years about BJ. BJ is fucking tough as nails, has an unbelievable chin, a rock head. I mean, if you look at some of the fights that he's had where he's on the bottom and he's getting smashed, the guy doesn't cut. His skin is like, I don't know what his skin's made out of. You know what I mean? He doesn't cut. He's just this kid that was born and built to fight. And he's crazy like that. BJ's crazy like that. He'll come in and fight. He won't take the fight. The big beef with me and him during the George St. Pierre primetime. Remember? When I said, you know, the guy's not doing anything, he's blowing off his training, he's doing this and that, and he got all upset about it, you know? And he'll be all upset about this now too. That you asked me this and I said that.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
He's absolutely a Hall of Famer.
First ballot.
BJ? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, BJ has been, you know, not only at the time when people were saying that the 55-pounders couldn't headline, you know, pay-per-view events and all this other stuff, BJ Penn became a huge star. Huge star. Yes.